How Liquid Death built a 1.4 billion empire selling water. In 2017, Mike Cesario told investors he wanted to sell water in a tall boy beer can, name it Liquid Death, and use the slogan, "Murder your thirst." Every single investor laughed at him. They told him it was the dumbest idea in the history of beverage marketing. Fast forward to 2025. Liquid Death is valued at $1.4 billion. They've outmarketed Coke, Pepsi, and Monster without spending a single dollar on traditional TV ads. But here's the secret. Liquid Death isn't a water company. They are a media company that just happens to sell cans of water. Today, we're breaking down the three-step psychological blueprint Liquid Death used to turn a commodity into a cult, and why their dumb idea is actually the most brilliant marketing strategy of the decade. For decades, the water industry followed a boring, predictable script. If you wanted to sell premium water, you had to talk about two things: purity and health. You needed a picture of a mountain on the label and a celebrity talking about their skin glow. But Mike Cesario, a former Netflix creative director, realized something that Coke and Pepsi missed. He noticed that the coolest brands on the planet, Red Bull, Monster, and Budweiser, didn't talk about health. They talked about lifestyle. They sold danger, rebellion, and fun. Cesario's reverse branding strategy was simple but radical. Take the healthiest product in the world and market it like the unhealthiest product in the world. This is why Liquid Death comes in a 16.9-ounce tall boy can. In a bar or at a music festival, holding a plastic bottle of Evian feels uncool. It signals that you're the designated driver or the health freak. But holding a Liquid Death, it looks like a beer. It fits the vibe. By changing the packaging, Liquid Death removed the social friction of drinking water. They made it an accessory for the party, not a distraction from it. They weren't just selling H2O. They were selling a way to belong to the crowd without the hangover. And they didn't stop at the can. They chose the most anti-water name imaginable. Liquid Death sounds like something that would kill you, not hydrate you. But in a world of pure life and smart water, the name Liquid Death was so absurd that it earned millions in free PR. This is lesson 1 of the Liquid Death blueprint. If you're entering a crowded market, don't try to be better than the leader. Be the opposite of the leader. Most brands spend millions trying to be liked. Liquid Death spent $1,500 on their first ad trying to be hated. In 2020, they took the most brutal, angry comments from their haters, people calling their water garbage and their branding toxic, and they did something insane. They hired a heavy metal band to turn those comments into a full-length vinyl album called Greatest Hates. This is the core of their cult strategy, the us versus them mentality. By leaning into the hate, they showed their fans exactly who they weren't. They weren't a corporate giant trying to please everyone. They were a punk rock brand that didn't care if you liked them. And in a world of fake corporate authenticity, that realness acted like a magnet for Gen Z and millennials. They even created a country club where the only way to join was to literally sell your soul to the brand via a digital contract. Over 700,000 people actually did it. Why? Because Liquid Death understands a secret of human psychology. We don't want to buy products. We want to join movements. To keep the cult alive, they use scarcity and chaos. They treat their marketing like a streetwear brand. They drop limited edition merch like casket coolers or skateboards infused with Tony Hawk's real blood. These items sell out in minutes, creating a massive fear of missing out that keeps people checking their social media daily. During the Super Bowl, while other brands paid $7 million for a 30-second spot, Liquid Death spent a fraction of that to hire a real witch to cast a legal curse on the stadium. It was weird, it was dumb, and it earned them more news headlines than the actual TV commercials. This leads us to lesson 2. Liquid Death doesn't have a marketing department. They have a comedy troupe. They realized that if you can make someone laugh, you've already won half the battle. They proved that entertainment is the new awareness. If your ads are better than the shows people are actually trying to watch, they'll never skip them. Up until now, we've talked about the cool factor. But why did investors actually put hundreds of millions of dollars into a water company? The answer isn't in the skull logo. It's in the material of the can itself. Mike Cesario knew that the world was reaching a breaking point with plastic. Only about 9% of plastic actually gets recycled. The rest ends up in the ocean. But aluminum? It's infinitely recyclable. In fact, 75% of all aluminum ever produced is still in use today. This gave Liquid Death a moral high ground that their competitors couldn't touch. Their slogan, "Death to Plastic," wasn't just a cool phrase. It was a direct attack on big players like Nestle and Coca-Cola. By using cans, they tapped into the conscious consumer market without looking like a boring environmental brand. But there's a logistics secret here too. Plastic bottles are cheap to make, but they are expensive to brand. A can, however, allows for 360-degree high-definition printing. This means the packaging is the billboard. It stands out on a shelf from 30 feet away, saving them millions in point-of-sale advertising. Liquid Death is the ultimate proof that in 2025, you don't need a better product to win. You need a better story. They took a commodity that literally falls from the sky for free, gave it a soul, and turned it into a billion-dollar cult. The takeaway for entrepreneurs is simple. Don't be afraid of being too weird. In a crowded market, the most dangerous thing you can be is boring. Liquid Death didn't just murder their thirst. They murdered the old rules of marketing. If you want to see more breakdowns of the world's most disruptive brands, hit that subscribe button and click the link in the description to join our Business Deep Dive newsletter. Thanks for watching.